Hello there, didn't see you there. My name's Jimbo, and I'm a bamboo plant, and recently I've been thinking about, what's been keeping me alive? How about we explore this process together, otherwise known as the Calvin Cycle? So here's the big question. What is the Calvin Cycle? The Calvin Cycle was first discovered by Melvin Calvin, Andrew Benson, James Bascom, and Melvin Calvin was the one who spearheaded the entire project, and thus it's called the Calvin Cycle. The Calvin Cycle consists of 3 stages. Here is what the complete cycle looks at, and the first stage that we are concerned with is known as fixation. The first stage of the Calvin Cycle incorporates carbon from CO2. In plants, atmospheric CO2 enters the mesophyll layer of leaves by passing through the stomata and then diffusing into the stroma of the chloroplasts. This is very important because this is essentially where the Calvin Cycle takes place. A very important enzyme that we know commonly as Rubisco, but is also formally known as ribulose biphosphate carboxylase oxygenase, or as I like to call her, Ruby. In the first step of the cycle, Rubisco catalyzes an attachment of carbon dioxide to a 5-carbon sugar called ribulose biphosphate. The resulting 6-carbon molecule is very unstable, and because of this, it quickly splits into 2 molecules of 3-carbon compound called 3-phosphoglycerate, 3-PGA. Thus, for each CO2, 2 3-GPA molecules are produced. The next stage is reduction. The reduction stage of the Calvin Cycle requires ATP and NADPH to convert 3-PH to a 3-carbon sugar, and it's done in 2 major steps. First, each molecule of 3-PGA receives a phosphate group from ATP, turning into 1,3-biphosphoglycerate. ADP is a byproduct. The second step, 1,3-biphosphoglycerate molecules are reduced by NADPH to receive 2 electrons, and it loses one of its phosphate groups. It turns into a 3-carbon sugar called glyceride 3-phosphate. The next step is regeneration. We all know that very, very important saying, one ring to rule them all. And in the case of glucose, only one G3P to exit the cycle and create glucose. So you're probably wondering, we make 6 in one cycle, so what happens to the other 5? Well, those get recycled and are created to make RUBP, which will be used in another turn of the cycle. It's important to remember that glucose is a 6-carbon sugar, so therefore it would take 6 cycles to make 1 glucose. This concludes the Calvin Cycle. I hope you've enjoyed it.